Hi and welcome to this episode where we want to discuss another model game of another student of mine. My name is Saro, I'm a 2100 FIDE rated chess coach, and today we are going to take a look at a student named William who is rated approximately around 1000 on chess.com but played a really strong game in the Caro-Kann with the black pieces. So this being said, let's just take a look at the game. White starts the game with first e4, William plays c6, d4, d5. The Caro-Kann, white has several choices such as knight to f3, or exchange. Another very popular line is the advanced variation, e5. Now black has basically two choices, either play c5 or the plan with bishop to f5, developing the bishop. And now white has several good moves such as knight to f3, knight to d2 with the idea to go to b3, among a variety of different moves. So white has a lot of choices. However, white decides to play f3 here, which is somehow very strange, because this weakens the dark squares here. And William is going to exploit this with the black pieces in a pretty good manner. So follow closely the next moves. Black plays e6, knight to e2, and now c5, questioning the central pawn of white on d4. Of course, white doesn't want to lose it, so plays c3, and black puts more pressure on it. Yet he's not going to take it, because it wouldn't yield anything. So bishop to e3 played, and now queen to b6, hitting on the b2 pawn, putting some additional pressure against d4 and maybe also against the dark squares. And here white has a choice. White could go queen b3, then black has several good moves such as f6, questioning or further questioning the central structure of white, or playing c4, because this bishop has already left the structure here and is a pretty strong piece. In the game, however, white decided to play b3. Black continues the development, develops the bishop, and now white, who already has an inferior position, makes a very strange decision. He takes on c5. However, other moves like knight to d2 aren't much better, because after rook to c8, let's say a4, knight to h6, black is almost finished with development, while white is having trouble with castling, getting the white squared bishop out, and also the other pieces here are not well placed. So black is obviously better here. But after d takes c5, bishop takes c5, it becomes apparently clear that the dark squares of white on this diagonal are extremely weak, and white might be already losing here. So white decides to take on c5, queen takes c5, and now b4, driving the queen away, but doesn't change anything because queen to b6 is a strong move. And now white needs to defend the e5 pawn, plays f4. Black continues development by playing knight g to e7. And while black has almost finished the development, white is still lacking, hasn't castled the knight here on b1, this bishop on f1. It's a very difficult position. White plays a4, still not developing anything. And now black has a choice. Black can either castle this way, or try to undermine the white center with the very active g5. And now one can see that this structure here is not that solid, and white is facing a lot of problems, especially because also the queen is putting pressure along this diagonal, and all these squares are very weak. But instead, in the game, black made probably the only move here which can be criticized, and this is rook to d8. It's not a bad move, but probably just castling had been a little bit more flexible, and maybe then put the a rook to c8 and the f rook to d8. But this is only a minor issue, because black is much better here. So rook to d8, still a very fine move. a5 played, attacks the queen must go away, but the queen isn't much worse on c7, putting pressure on the central pawn here. Knight to d4, and now black has almost finished development, so black just continues the path and castles. Black has connected the rooks, the queen is on c7, all the pieces are developed, while white hasn't achieved much around move 15, by the way. So white has big problems. And now maybe white can continue by playing a move like bishop to e2. However, in the game, knight takes f5 followed, and of course this is not a good move, because the black knight on f5 feels very comfortable. White continued with bishop to d3, and now black played the very strong move d4. White cannot avoid the opening of the position, and soon is going to have a obviously lost position. So white castled finally around move 18, so pretty late, and after d takes c3, white has an obviously lost position. The bishop can not really move. Taking this pawn on c3 is also not really possible due to moves like knight takes b4, which put additional pressure on the pinned piece. So this is all not working. In the game, queen to e2 was played, then followed knight fd4, queen h5, the only moment where black had to pay attention, because white is apparently threatening a mate on h7, so just g6, everything is fine. The queen retreats to h3, and now knight takes b4, and black is up material after bishop e4, just c2, and now white is struggling to keep all the pieces together. White plays knight to c3, and now black has a very simple and beautiful combination. It's queen takes c3, and knight e2 check. And now you can see that king and queen are forked. White is going to lose further material and is going to be a few pawns and a knight down, a minor piece down. Instead, black played queen to c5, which isn't a very worse, so it's still a winning position for black. In the game, queen to e3 was played, and now my student William found a very nice discovery attack and check, knight to e2. The queen cannot take because it is pinned, but if the queen cannot take and the king must move, then white is going to lose material, because the only move not losing the queen would be king to f2. However, this loses due to knight takes c3, queen takes c5, and now knight takes e4 check, forking queen and rook, and black is suddenly 2 minor pieces up and also 2 pawns, so white is completely lost. In the game, however, knight takes e2 followed, and of course black takes d3 queen, and after rook to f2, white, which was played by white also decided to resign here because it doesn't make any sense to continue this game. It's made in 2 moves, rook d1 check, rook takes d1, and promotion to rook or queen, and it's a checkmate. I hope you liked this game. If you did so, feel free to check out another game by one of my students, a very beautiful game where he managed to trap the queen. If you want to support this channel, feel free to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.